One thing that has helped me as a player and a DM is the technologification of D&D. That's probably not a real word, but effectively what I'm talking about is tools like D&D Beyond. Being able to quickly access your character, stats, items through an easy-to-use interface has been super helpful just in general. So today I'm going to go over how to make your first character in D&D Beyond. Starting off, you don't have to purchase anything to use D&D Beyond's character creation tool. You will be limited in terms of what you can actually create based upon what you technically own, but the base tool is still there available for you. But if you have a DM like me who spends way too much money on this hobby, then they can actually share their content with you, allowing you to use that content in your character creation. But for now, let's just assume you have absolutely nothing and start from here. On the D&D Beyond homepage, you can see there is a create a character option, and this is where you want to go to create your first character. You can also navigate to collections in the top left and hit my characters. And then simply from here, you can hit the create a character under the my characters option, and we'll go through this. Now, there are 3 different ways to make a character on D&D Beyond. There's the standard step-by-step approach, there's the quick build approach, and there is the randomize approach. We're going to go through the standard step-by-step process because I want to show you every step that goes through creating a character on this actual site. So we'll go through standard, and here we are. Now, you'll see it's split up into certain steps. We have the home page, which is just the settings for the options, and then we have the race, the class, the abilities, the description, the equipment, and what's next. This home page is where we set up all of the options for this character. So if I wanted to name the character, we'll go ahead and name him Pimple Stamp. And then I can enable or disable certain content for this character. We can see I can turn on homebrew content, turn on critical role content, turn on all of these other things, or turn them off if I want. Generally, I turn all of these on except for Rick and Morty content. I don't like it, but that's just me. And then you keep going down through these options. You can enable digital dice rolling, turn on optional features, which I think is super important that I like to have turned on, because these are optional class features that are not in the base D&D game that you can actually turn on to give you options that kind of makes up your character a bit and allow you a little more freedom in what you want to build. You can turn on the advancement type to milestone or XP based for leveling up. Generally, I'm a milestone person. I don't like tracking XP. I think it's tedious, but you can have it set however you like. You can change your hit point type to fixed or manual. Generally, I'm a manual person, so we'll leave it as that. And then you can turn on feats, all these other scaled spell options, encumbrance type, and all these things. And the most important feature on this actual creation step is probably the ability score and modifier display. This is effectively what number is on top of your ability scores or modifier, and any gentleman, woman, or what have you will generally say that the scores go on top. And with that, I probably frustrated at least 80% of the people watching this video. But once we're done with these options, we hit this little arrow to the next, or we can scroll to the top and hit race. But I'll just go through the arrows because it goes step by step. Now here's where we choose our race for the character. We can go through and filter by sources, but since this is a brand new account, I'm only going to leave it on all sources because this is pretty much what we're going to have access to if you have nothing unlocked on D&D Beyond. Now, we can choose any of these races. Click on them and it will show you all of the options and things that you get when you choose that race. Now, since my character's name is Rimple Fample Stamp, I think I probably sound like a gnome. So I'm going to go ahead, choose a gnome, and I can choose either a rock gnome or a deep gnome. I'm probably going to go with a rock gnome just because that's what I prefer, and then we'll choose this race. Once we have the race chosen, we can see all of the racial traits that it gives us, and we can actually click in them and give them and actually see exactly what they do. So it gives me Gnome Cunning, giving me advantage on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws against magic, dark vision, artificial lore or artificer's lore for history checks, and tinkerer, which effectively gives me artisan's tools and proficiency with that. But now that we have the racial traits selected, we can also go to the origin manager. And this is a newer thing added in D&D Beyond that is not in the player's handbook. At least I don't believe it's in the player's handbook. Effectively, it allows you to choose how you build your character more specifically. This allows you to pretty much increase your ability score by 2 instead of the intelligence that you would normally get. And this is really meant to allow you to choose a race class combination that wasn't historically available to you. In the past, gnomes have been, I think, intelligence. You'd get intelligence score increase, Goliath would give you strength, con, stuff like that. But if you choose this, it allows you to increase your score, modifier by 2 rather than it being stuck in the intelligence stat. That way you can choose to make a barbarian gnome and not have it feel terrible because you're smarter than everyone else and your strength is terrible, but instead you can choose to allot those extra stat points into strength rather than being stuck in intelligence. It's really just ease of access for everyone. If you want to play a barbarian gnome, you can now play a barbarian gnome without feeling bad about it. Same thing with the origin languages and origin ability score increases. You can really choose where you want these to go, totally up to you. I'm going to turn all of these on. Actually, I like the proficiency, so I'll leave it. And once I've chosen all of those, I can then hit the arrow over. Now is where we choose our class. I want to be Rimple Fample Stamp, the, let's say, Druid, the Druid Rimple Fample Stamp Gnome. So we'll go ahead and choose Druid. And then you can see it gives us everything that we have here with our Druid. Our Druidic, our spellcasting, and then it shows through everything you get as you level up if you scroll down. You simply hit Add Class, and once you add your class, you'll see we're now in Step 2 class, and it will give us all of the things that we can choose with it. We can see our class features, our optional feature manager, and our spells. So the first thing at level 1 is we have proficiencies as druids, right? We can click on here and choose the druid skills that we want to be proficient in. Now, since I'm a druid, I'll probably want to be good at animal handling and survival, so we'll just choose those. And I'm good to go level 1 character pretty much. If I wanted to go through the optional feature manager, I can click through here, and if there was anything optional I could do, it would be showing up here. And I can then see spells and add spells through here, but since I'm a druid, spellcasting is a little bit different, so we'll leave this. Now, we can see that my druid is level 1. If I wanted to make a level 3 character, I can actually click on this and choose level 3. And as I do that, you'll see more things appear. And the first choice I have is the Druidic Circle. Since I get my subclass at level 2 as a druid, it appears here. I can click on that and choose any of the subclasses that I want to be for a druid. Circle of the Land, any of these, and I'm going to go ahead and choose Circle of the Land Arctic. We're going to be an Arctic Circle of the Land druid. And then once I choose that, it also gives me additional things I can add on here that are attached to the Circle of the Land Arctic Druid subclass. So as you can see, I get a bonus cantrip as an Arctic Druid. I can choose any of these that I'd like. I'll probably choose Frostbite because that makes sense for an Arctic Druid. And I also got Natural Recovery and Circle spells. And you can click on them and see that as an Arctic Druid, I get all of these spells as I level up. And if I minimize all these, I can go back. And just to showcase again, if I do get level 5, if I want to make a level 5, I then can choose an ability score improvement or a feat. And if I do choose a feat, I can then choose what feat I want to add. So there's so many other options here that you can do. It is a little bit limited when you don't have anything unlocked on D&D Beyond, but being able to build a character out like this is just so helpful that I really suggest trying it out at least. But let's go back to level 3 because I think level 3 is where we want to stay. Now that we have this, I want to come back to my HP and manage that. If we manage my HP, it automatically rolled max HP for me here, but I'm going to go ahead and say for our rolled HP, since we have hit die of, I think a druid is a D8. Yeah, D8. Well, through 8, 16, 24. Oh, I didn't roll max. I'm just dumb. I can actually just change what I rolled here to maybe 16. And then hit apply. And that'll set my max HP to 16. So that way you'll be all set with your HP once you go ahead and get into your ability scores, which we'll get into now. If I go to my next section, you can see we're now in abilities. And we can see I have origin ability scores, origin languages, and all of these things to adjust. These would not show up if I did not select the optional origin manager here. If I didn't select this, those would not show up here. So you may or may not see this depending upon what you've chosen. But from here, you can see I can simply choose what stat I want to put in. But I'm going to go ahead and actually choose, we're going to go ahead and do a standard array. And we're going to give our ability scores to our character. So as a druid, wisdom, probably the most important. So I'm going to go ahead and choose wisdom for that main top stat. What else I want to do is I probably want to have high constitution, because druids with concentration checks, all that other stuff with their wild shape, good to go. We'll put 14 in there, and then from there it's just a crapshoot on where I want to put stuff. Dexterity is probably a good one. Charisma is probably my worst one, so I'll probably put strength, intelligence, and then charisma 8. And those are my base stats currently. Now that I have my stats allocated, I can go ahead and use my ability score improvements. Or increases with my origin manager here. If I click on the ability score increase as a rock gnome, I can choose an ability score to increase by 2. So, as a druid, I will probably put that in wisdom, seeing as how that is my most important stat. And now you'll see, even though my wisdom is rolled as a 15, it shows as a total of 17. Likewise, I can do the same thing with this one and put this somewhere else, or I could just put this in wisdom as well to put that wisdom from a 15 to an 18. Or I can put this in somewhere like constitution or dexterity to put it into a nice round number to 14, but I like wisdom, so we're going to leave it with that. And now we can see that the last thing we need to do on this page is the origin languages. Because I chose the origin languages manager option early on, I can choose what languages I want to know as my character. Now as a druid, I already know druidic, pretty simplistic. I feel like for a druid, they should definitely know Sylvan. I think that's probably important. That's like the language of little beasts and stuff in nature. And then I will also choose, let's just say, probably, I know Gnomish because I'm a gnome. Probably, let's do Primordial. I think Primordial is a cool language, right? So I'll go with Primordial. And now I have everything set here. I can scroll down and see all of my options with all of my stats allocated as they are. If there was any other modifier that D&D Beyond did not have in here, you can also just straight up add another modifier in here if you needed to, or adjust this as you see fit, or override the score entirely based on what you wanted, but we're just going to leave this blank for now because we're good to go with everything here. Now that our stats are good and set, we can hit the arrow again and go through our description of our character. Now, this is where I can choose the background if I want, and again, like you see, there is not much of a background option here with just base D&D Beyond, but as a druid, we'll probably go ahead and choose a sage, seeing as how they're not going to be getting out much, and then their researcher, suggested characteristics, and we can add all of these things. We get more languages here that we can learn as a sage, so we'll go ahead and learn Celestial, and let's go ahead and learn Goblin. We can see that we have the researcher background, so libraries help us, which doesn't really make sense for a druid, but whatever. And then we have suggested characteristics that we can actually scroll down and just add. And you can see if I add them all to my character, I get little green checkboxes or pop-ups here that show you that they were added. And I'll showcase that once we get to the character sheet. We can also see character details about the alignment. Druids have to be neutral, so we'll go ahead and put them as true neutral. We can have them of faith as being Sylvanas. I think that's how you spell it. I'm probably wrong. We can have lifestyle, squalid because they're druid, physical characteristics, all of these things that we can add in here, and we're all good to go with this information. Again, you don't have to put this information in because it's not technically mechanics in the game, but if you are one of those people that like to have all that information available to you, you can put it in right there. Once that's good, we hit next. And now we get to our equipment. Since this is a brand new character, they have 0 equipment. And any new character, you either need to purchase your equipment, or you just get gold to purchase your equipment with. So, if you wanted to make starting equipment, you can choose either equipment or gold. If I choose gold, you can see it gives me the Druid Gold generation option here that I can then use to purchase equipment. However, if you just choose equipment, it will automatically give you some quick, easy-to-use checkboxes that you can use to quickly stat out or equip up your druid. Now, my druid's not going to use a shield, they're going to use a staff because they're a wrinkly old rimple-fample-stamp person. Any simple weapon. We'll go ahead and choose a spear, staff. Where's my staff? Where's my dart, sling, quarterstaff? There it is. We can have a scimitar or another simple melee weapon. We'll go ahead and choose a club. Or we'll make a hand axe here. And then we have the option for armor as well. I can uncheck that or check it. And we'll just go ahead and choose a druidic focus of a sprig of mistletoe. Perfect. And then under that, since I'm a sage, with the background, it gives me all of these other things here that I can use that I got with the background. A pouch containing 10 gold, some common clothes, all these other things that don't make sense for a druid, but I chose that background anyways, but that's what you would do. Once you're happy with what you've chosen here, you can hit add starting equipment, and all of that stuff gets added into your inventory in D&D Beyond. As you can see, I have all of these things added in. Now, I can actually wield some of these, so if I hit wield, I'm going to be wielding that weapon. If I hit wear, I'm going to be wearing this leather. If I hit wield on this quarterstaff, I'm wielding that. And then you can actually effectively equip items on your character as well. You can add other possessions and items in here and search for them. So for example, if I wanted to add, I don't know, a luck blade, I can type in luck, it will pop up in here and add that to my character. Now, your DM is probably not going to be okay with you adding a luck blade to your character, but I'm just showcasing the features here, right? Now that we have everything we need for our character with our items, our stats, and our race class, we can then hit this arrow next, and it gives us the option to view the character sheet or export it to PDF. Now, PDF is going to export it to a PDF format that you can print out, but if you want to just use D&D Beyond, you can simply click View Character Sheet. And like that, I now have my Rimple Fample Stamp character sheet set up on D&D Beyond. Just to navigate through really quickly, we have all of our stats, all of our hit points, our skills, our saving throws, all of these things in here, and then you can navigate through everything in your character sheet with this box here. We can see all of my actions. We can filter them by attack, bonus action, reaction. We see the spells that I have. Inventory, all of these things that we have here, we can access through the actual D&D Beyond character sheet. If I wanted to attack, I can actually go ahead and click on the hit box for my character sheet, right? If I wanted to attack my luck blade, I can hit the +3. It will roll. I rolled a 9 with my bonus +3, so I rolled a 12. It's really simplistic, and while I don't like to use the rolling feature because I like using the click-clack math rocks that I have physically here, it's still very nice to play online or stuff like that. Oops, I forgot to turn off Steam. Oopsies. Now, let's talk about spells really quickly and then we'll end this off, right? Is adding spells to my character, I can go to my spells list here and I can click Manage Spells. From here, let's clear this out and move it off. I can see all of my known spells and my prepared spells. Now, since druids are weird and they know spells just off the top of their hand, the only thing we really need to worry about is preparing spells. So if I go through this and go through my known spells, oh, those are cantrips, that's why. Right? And we can see my first level spells. I have all of these available. But let's do cantrips first, right? Because I only know 2 cantrips, I can choose the 2 that I want to have access to. So we'll go ahead and choose Frostbite. Actually, yeah, we'll choose Frostbite. Actually, we already have Frostbite because we're an Arctic gnome. Or Arctic druid. So we'll go ahead and choose Produce Flame because we probably need to stay warm in the Arctic, and Create Bonfire. Now we have our 2 cantrips. We can go back to our first level spells now and prepare what spells we want to have prepared for the day. We can have up to 7 spells prepared as a 2nd level or 3rd level druid, so we'll go through this all. I will prepare Animal Friendship. I will prepare Cure Wounds. I will prepare Ice Knife. I think that fits the theme really well. I will prefer Purify Food and Drink, Goodberry, and Earth Tremor. Now, I have one slot left. Actually, you know what? Let's get rid of Animal Friendship and prepare a 2nd level spells. At 2nd level, I will prepare Flaming Sphere, and let's just say Spike Growth. Actually, that's always prepared. Wow. And Moonbeam. And now we can see I have prepared spells, 7 out of 39 known. And now that I have those prepared, if I go to my spells list, we can see it's all filled out with all this extra information. Create Bonfire, Frostbite, Produce Flame, all of these things are available to me. And just like I did with the attack rolls and the actions attack, I can go ahead and click on this +6 for Ice Knife, and it will do the same exact thing. I rolled a 19 for a 25 to hit. That's how you make a character in DndBeyond.com. If you have any other questions, please feel free to leave a comment, let me know, and I'll be happy to answer them. D&D Beyond is a super cool software that you can use to really kind of make this all flow super quick and easy and painless. I find it easier. I'm a tech guy, so I like this kind of new D&D tech style that we have going on now. But again, it might not be for everyone, so if you like it, I suggest trying it out at least once. If you don't, use pen and paper. There's no right way to play D&D. There's no wrong way to play D&D. It only matters that you're playing D&D. So, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you on Friday.